Okay, guys, so in step 2 of this, we are going to look at the diagnosis of the problem. The first thing I did was I went inside and I started with the weakest point on the chain, the fuse. It turned out the fuse was brand new. It was underrated, but it was brand new. So I replaced the fuse with a proper fuse. Still didn't work. I knew it wouldn't, but it still didn't work. Checked it anyway. Then I look at the pulse board and realize the pulse board's already been replaced fairly recently from the look of it. So I'm pretty sure that's not the problem. The wiper motors, you might say, would be the problem, but it's incredibly unlikely that the two wiper motors would die at the same time, let alone the separate motors that pump the fluid from the windshield washer reservoir. Those also were not making any noise or giving any response at all. So I got the owner to turn the key and try the wipers while I jiggled wires in the harness. Literally just pushed on the wire. When we found the one that was the problem, bingo bango, the wipers came on. Magic, eh? So I got home, got my glue gun, came right back, put in a little automotive goop to protect the glue from the heat that I was about to apply, pushed the wires in as deep as they would go, and glue gunned them in place. Now we have working wipers with no problems. No need to replace the harness with a $1,000 item. You could even pull the harness off and resolder the wires with a soldering gun that costs you $20 and $5 worth of solder. On the cheap side, you can do it with a $20 glue gun and $5 worth of glue sticks. In fact, it took about a tenth of one glue stick to fix this problem, including gluing the harness casing back on. In this case, the harness had a cap that's supposed to hold it all in place. But the pins on the cap, the little clips that are on the side of the cap, are really cheap and crappy. And they were coming loose, which was allowing the wires to come loose. So a little glue in the wire, not on the contacts. Keep that in mind. You want to glue inside the collar of the casing itself, so that you can actually affect locking the wire in place without affecting the contact in any way. Then I pushed on the cap tight and glued that in place. And for about $1 in glue, it cost me $2.25 at the dollar store for a bag of glue sticks. I think it cost me $15 for my glue gun. Guys, that's really cheap. Mechanics don't want to tell you that you can fix these problems that cheap when they could get $1,000 out of you. That's part of the problem I wanted to talk about. Part of the problem is in the design stage, and part of the problem is in the industry itself and how they approach these problems. They could tell you these things and leave you to go and fix this on your own. Hell, they could take that same glue gun, spend half an hour of their time, charge you for half an hour of their time and $5 for the glue, and do a good job that would last you a while, at least give you the option of that kind of a temporary fix. Now, you may say that's going to fall apart in a day. No, it won't. It's actually probably going to last them for months, maybe even years. And when it does break, you simply redo it. And you already know which wire is at fault. So it becomes a very easy situation. Now, if you were to take an electrical harness and look at how it goes through the firewall, which they do, you're going to find that the hole in the firewall usually isn't big enough to accept the end of the cable, which, like I said in the last video, means you got to do a lot of cutting and a lot of spot welding to put it all back together. It's a real pain in the butt, and I do not blame mechanics for not wanting to do that. The owners of the shops don't want that done, because you're talking about doing 10 hours of work, maybe 4 or 5, maybe 2, 3 hours of work that gets real expensive real quick for a $20 piece of wiring. Now, at this point, this is really on the manufacturer to design a vehicle so that the wiring can be readily replaced. It's not rocket science. All they need is a little bit bigger hole in the firewall so you can pull the wiring harness through, and bingo bango, you got an easy replacement. But I don't know of any companies that are doing that right now. I see nothing but the same bullshit design, where it's literally designed to fail with a weak connection, and they've made no improvements in them in years. In fact, if you look back 100 years, the wires were a lot better quality. They were a lot thicker gauge. And the connections were a lot better quality. And some of those are still lasting today. That's exactly why they don't do it. Motorola learned that lesson with a phone called the 2.0 Blur. It almost put them out of business. Titanium case, shark glass. You couldn't break the damn thing. I know, I owned one. They were amazing. But the company almost went out of business, and they swore they'd never make another one like it. They wanted to make good quality products, but the financial reality means they need to sell steady or they go out of business. This is a problem in the mechanics industry too. If they can't ding you steady for work, they're going out of business. Keith out.